Yo, we're back on Twitch. Can't believe it. I cannot believe it. We are back on Twitch. We sure are back on Twitch. Man, I did a big investment today. I haven't set it up yet, but I definitely bought it. Chat, my clone's coming to kill me. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I think my clone, he got me. He found my location. He's gonna come kill me later on. So, Wing Wong might not exist for very much longer, I'm gonna be real. This might be one of the last times you see Wing Wong before your boy gets executed by the clone. He finally got me. He found me. He wants vengeance and he wants me back. So, yeah, the clone might get me. So, Wing Wong might not exist for a while. Maybe I might just die. Who knows? But the clone's coming to get me. Maybe. I'm not exactly sure yet. What I do know is that I got Streamlabs Ultra. I know, but I haven't set it up yet. But I definitely got it. Because all this multi-streaming stuff, I had to give in. I was like, man, multi-streaming, I'm going to just go with Streamlabs Ultra. Because that's like the most reliable thing. So, I mean, overall, I still only spent like 1,400 New Zealand dollars in total to fix the multi-stream problem. I actually haven't tested it out yet, but all I know is the MacBook M4, Mac Mini M4 should be running the streaming stuff now as a secondary PC. And then Streamlabs Ultra should, I haven't actually tested it yet, but, you know, I bought the annual thing. It is what it is. It's like, what, 330 New Zealand dollars? Man, it's expensive, but still cheaper than that $3,500 PC setup, which would need that multi-stream anyways. Anyways, I think we're gonna go continue that Mr. Nightmare thing, yeah? Yeah, like I said, the Wing Wong might be dead soon. The clone's coming. But in the meantime, we'll do what we can do and continue what we usually do today, right? Before whatever happens to me. But yeah, the whole Wing Wong thing might just be gone. I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure. However, I do know that my clone's coming to get me. But he escaped, you know? Hey, I remember I told y'all at the very beginning of the Wing Wong lore channel. Mauler twins. I told you, the clone's coming, man. He's coming. I got a clone. I'm the real one, but he's gonna come kill me. But, yeah. It is what it is. Mauler twins. Clone. Hey, so we were continuing from yesterday. Mr. Nightmare. Mr. Nightmare was... Oh, I don't know why I feel energetic today. All I know is that this morning, I drank a good-ass soup. That Chinese soup. Man, I should learn how to... Should learn all that. What's that? Unexplained childhood memories. What kind of thumbnail is that? That's a weird thumbnail. But yeah, so besides that though, yeah, this morning I had a really good soup. Very warm, so not sure if I was tired, but I had to drink some coffee. Again though, this whole Wing Wong thing, me might be gone soon. The clone's coming to get me, but you know, one thing I realized is that with the curtains open, the webcam looks a whole lot better, no? Only one way to find out, right? Wait, seriously, the webcam looks a lot better with the curtains open. It actually does, huh? I think it's more lighting. That's probably why. It looks a whole lot better though. So, yep. I guess we could continue to... We did 3 stories yesterday, so we got to finish the last 2. Lock in.
Buckle up, New Zealand.
Oh my goodness.
With a huge welcome bonus. $350 plus 170 free spins. Dive into non-stop excitement at 20bet, where big fun meets huge wins. Don't wait. Sign up with 20bet today. Find us on the web.
How is this allowed on YouTube? It's literally gambling.
To lifted firmer skin, try Olay's Super Collagen Peptides Moisturizer.
Explain to them what it.
Story 4, here we go, lock in. We were up to here, I remember that. And then today we're gonna probably, honestly, we could do Ragnarok, no. Could do God of War, but I am kinda hyped on doing that Surviving Mars game, because yesterday we did it. We did 3 out of 5 tutorials, so we're gonna do the last 2 tutorials. And then we can start surviving on Mars. That's gonna be kinda interesting. it'll be kind of interesting. But anyways, let's continue the video. All right, lock in. Story 4. Let's see. So far though, this video has been pretty banger. But the 3 stories so far were actually really good. So yeah, let's have a look, shall we? All right, here we go.
This happened a decent while ago, back when I was 22.
Okay, 22 years old. 22 years old. Remember that. 22 years old. Wait, is it audio working?
Years passed to the
Yep.
point where I feel safe talking about it.
Okay.
I was fresh out of college with a desirable job and minimal expenses since I was living in my childhood home with my parents.
Yeah.
Imagine that, racking up considerable savings without having to worry about food or a place to sleep.
Hey, that's true though. Like, no joke. Why are people moving out of their parents' home so early? People, yeah, true. I mean, Asians don't really move out of their parents. It's more like a white person thing. No joke. Moving out your parents' house is more like a white person thing, I think. Because Asians are like, you know, why would you move out when you could just stay here? Well, I mean, yeah, you can move out, but like, why? Beats me.
And all the while having full access to the room I grew up in, my car, and all my hometown comforts. It's safe to say I was living in pure bliss. Believe me, I knew how lucky I was to have parents who allowed me to stay at home and rent free.
That, I mean, like, in Asian culture, that's pretty standard. In Asian culture, that's pretty standard, bro. Asians just stay with each other for like the whole day. Like, straight up, in Asian culture, your mom would literally stay with you even if you have like a child and wife. If you're like a wife and child, your mother will still stay with you. Y'all seen those Asian like families? Like the mom's just there like forever. Like, I'm not even joking. In Asian families, your parents don't kick you out. It's more like the mother, it really depends, but usually the parents just stay with you anyways. Like, even if you have a wife and full on like 2 kids, your mom's still there. Like, in Asian culture, your mom's just still there. Like, we're actually gonna go. Yeah, but then white people like send them to like a retirement home. What? And like white culture, they'll send the mom to the retirement home so she can play bingo 24/7. But then in Asian culture, the mother just stays at home and just looks after the kids, and that's literally Asian culture right there. No joke, Asian culture. Hey, the mother just stays with you the whole time, basically for life. But hey, that is what it is, you know. That's true. Look at a lot of Asian families. Look at yourself. Your grandma's with you right now, because yeah, my left is blocked. GG. Anyways, let's continue.
I know a lot of people don't have that option, so it's something I never took for granted. But not everything was as stress-free as you might think.
Really now.
What I'm about to tell you happened not even 1 month into my time back at home. I've never been what people my age like to call a party girl. I don't drink excessive amounts of alcohol. I don't
Okay, context. She's 22 years old and it's a woman. She's a woman. Alright, here we go. Woman, 22 years old, staying with her parents' house. Smart.
every ounce of my free time at clubs, and I definitely don't allow men to dictate my life in any way.
Oh, okay, anyways.
That's just how I was raised. My father is the most important man in my life, and hookup culture disgusts me. Because of all that, my life is pretty routine. Wake up, satisfy my caffeine addiction, go to work, go to the gym, read a bit of my book at home, mess around on my phone, and go to sleep.
Okay, that sounds pretty normal.
Weekends are for hiking, mini road trips, board games.
Hey, that's the type of girl your wife up though, no joke. They don't go party, they don't do nothing, they just stay home, go to work, go on their phone, sleep. That is literally a girl you'd wife up though. I'm not even joking. That's a girl you'd wife up. Straight up, don't go clubbing, no hookup culture. She respects her father. In the weekend she goes hiking, and all she does is just go to work, go to gym, go on her phone, sleep. That's literally like a girl. That's literally a girl you'll try to get with. No joke. That's what you consider a high value girl. That's exactly what that is actually what you'll go for. I'm not even joking. Anyways.
And whatever else I decide I want to spend my time doing. But one random weekend, my closest friend from college, Lindsay, invited me and our other two friends, Sabrina and Thea, to spend a few days at her family's beach house. I'd never been, but from the way Lindsay talked about it, the place sounded like a dream. Quiet, tucked away from the touristy chaos on its own private beach, and just a short walk from the water. To put it bluntly, Lindsay's family is loaded. I think
Damn.
both her parents were neurosurgeons.
What?
So I had a feeling her beach house would be insane, and I was far from disappointed. When I first laid eyes on it, I was awestruck. Look, I'm no architect, but I know a modern style house when I see one, and Lindsay's must have been ultra modern because it looked more like a covert military safe house than a personal home. I'd love to show you guys pictures of it, believe me, I've got plenty, but out of respect for Lindsay's family, I think that would be in really poor taste, even if what I'm about to tell you didn't happen. The four of us unloaded our stuff and decided where we'd be sleeping. Lindsay obviously had enough individual bedrooms for all of us to occupy, but what would be the fun in that? Instead, the four of us stayed in the same room, one of the kids' bedrooms that had 2 sets of bunk beds and its own attached bathroom.
Damn, Lindsay's rich. Or her parents are rich. Loaded beach house, compound house. That sounds like a dream.
Been staying there 3 nights, which, in my opinion, is the perfect amount of time to spend coupled up with anyone other than your family. I tend to be relatively irritable, so anyone who's not clean or polite tends to tick me off pretty easily. Not that any of my friends are, but you know how it is. I know I told you about my relatively boring lifestyle already, but if there was a time to drink, it was that weekend with my friends. So I definitely planned on letting loose a little more than I ordinarily would. We wanted to keep the first night pretty chill though, so we walked down to the private beach connected to the house and sat in the sand, stargazing. The four of us were drinking White Claws and listening to house music on Sabrina's speaker when we noticed something in the distance. It was this faint, flickering light emanating from somewhere further down the shore. The four of us quieted down a bit and watched the light flicker on and off. The sight was kind of hypnotic, as eerie as it was. After a while, it became clear that the light was swinging back and forth, like a handheld flashlight someone was walking with. And soon after, we realized that's just what it was. It looked like 3 or 4 people casually walking in our direction, not running or stumbling or moving strangely, but strolling at a leisurely pace. As they got closer, we started hearing the sound of laughter, which caused all of us to relax a bit. Considering how late it was most likely just a group of teenagers or even people our age.
Well, I thought it was a private beach. Oh wait. Oh, if it's nighttime and stuff, you're stargazing. You should be back inside.
They must have noticed us because at some point, one of them yelled out hi in a friendly voice. It was a guy's voice, and he
GG, run away.
sounded around our age. Thea yelled back, and we made some small talk while they made their way over to us. As they approached, we could see that it was a group of 3 guys who looked maybe a year or 2 older than we were. They all had that typical beach boy look, which I could tell right away my friends were digging, especially Thea. She's a bit crazy when it comes to guys, so I can't say I was too surprised. She knows how I feel about her lifestyle, so it's not like I'm saying anything crazy. To be fair, she is drop-dead gorgeous, and I've never seen a guy not take a liking to her. The guys sat down with their beers, and the 7 of us continued drinking. It was actually a really great time. The guys weren't overtly flirtatious, but they weren't boring either. Fast forward an hour and several drinks later, and they ultimately invited us back to their place.
Thought this girl was part of the not that type of influence area. GG.
Personally, I was exhausted and was leaning towards going to sleep, but I could tell all 3 of my friends wanted to continue hanging out with the boys.
What happened to, like, being a normal girl? Go work, do that, but then you go with your influence friends, and you just go off the dumb shit like that. GG.
Especially Thea, of course. I decided not to spoil everyone's fun, and called it a night for myself, telling my friends to go on without me. There were only 3 guys after all, and I had no intention of hooking up with anyone that night. I walked back towards Lindsay's house while the 6 of them walked along the beach, presumably towards wherever the guys were staying. I washed up and went to bed. Sometime after 3 in the morning, I woke up to a FaceTime call from Lindsay. which was confusing since she should have either been home by then or asleep next to one of the guys.
What the?
I answered her in a groggy voice, and what she said woke me up instantly. She basically screamed into the phone that Thea and Sabrina had been kidnapped, and I needed
Huh? What?
to get her car immediately. Her words were like a bucket of ice-cold water being splashed across my face. I've never felt a more intense sense of fear and adrenaline. I didn't waste a second. My hands were literally shaking as I quickly threw on some clothes and sprinted down the stairs. I asked her why she had called me instead of the police, and she reassured me that she already had. She told me to stay on the line as she walked me through it. With her instruction, I managed to open the driveway gate, find her car keys, and speed out of there in a matter of minutes. She told me they were about 10 houses down the beach to the left, so that's where I started driving. She described the car and told me what direction it had gone in, and I slammed on the gas to try and catch up.
So they got kidnapped. Her friends got kidnapped because they tried to hang out with random dudes they met on the first day, first night, drinking, alcohol, dumb culture. That's just dumb culture. What? Who does that? I would never. Not what? Oh, we met 3 random people on the beach. We had some drinks, and then I wanted to smash them. So let's go to the. Let's go. Though the storyteller's like the smartest one here. She just went home, gone to sleep. Except following the instruction. Like, what is she doing? Is she trying to chase down the kidnappers? What's she gonna do? Hey, the so far she's kind of smart-ish. I mean, respect that she didn't join in the culture.
There wasn't a single car on the road, and I was driving at an insanely unsafe speed. It was a miracle I didn't get pulled over. After a few minutes of driving, I noticed a car matching Lindsay's description driving slowly in the distance. Then I hung up the phone, called the police, and told them exactly where we were. The dispatcher told me to keep my distance so as not to alert them to the situation, so that's what I did. After what felt like forever, I spotted cop lights up ahead. The car ahead of me didn't try to evade the police. I can only imagine that they assumed it was an unrelated stop. I pulled the car over and watched everything unfold. It was pure chaos. The cops forcibly removed all 3 men from the SUV at gunpoint. They put them in cuffs and escorted them back to one of the cruisers. Then, one of the officers walked over to the trunk of the car and pulled it open to reveal both Thea and Sabrina, bound and, from the looks of it, pretty badly bruised. As horrifying as the whole experience was, it was nothing compared to the sequence of events told from their perspective. All 3 of them were comfortable with me writing this, by the way. We're still close in contact, so I obviously asked them. But none of them wanted to write it themselves, and for good reason. To keep things short, after I went to bed, they all continued drinking. Lindsay is the only one who remembers things clearly, since she was trying to be at least a little responsible given it was her family's house we were staying in. At some point, the guys Thea and Sabrina were with suggested they all go to bed. So the 4 of them split off while Lindsay told the 3rd guy she was going home. He was really upset about that, which Lindsay initially thought was because he wanted to get with her. She told him she would have been down but had to watch her house, and he got angry. They yelled at each other for a bit, and he ended up telling Lindsay to get the hell out of his house and never come back, which she was more than happy doing. Halfway home though, she realized she had forgotten her purse, so she went back to get it. That's when she saw the guys throwing Thea and Sabrina into the back of the car before driving off. She called the police, then me, and that was that. Thea's parents are both lawyers, and they jumped through dozens of hoops to do 2 things: keep the event as far away from the public sphere as possible, and make sure those guys got maximum prison sentences. They accomplished both. Turns out the house they were staying in didn't even belong to them. It was owned by some random old couple who were on vacation in a different country. That, plus the slew of other crimes they were charged with, put them away for a long time. Although I still think there's no sentence long enough that can properly compensate for what they did. As much as I hate admitting it, this traumatized me for years. I couldn't do beaches, late nights, or talking to strangers.
Yeah, like, why would you go to a group of strangers, drink, and then go to their house? What? That don't make no sense. I could, you know what I mean? Like, okay, group of girls chilling on the beach at night. Some dudes walk over, same age, or kind of same age, like maybe 1 year older. Oh, let's have a drink. I bet because they were like good looking as well. So then the girl's like, oh yeah. And then, yeah, come over to my house and let's drink more and then do disgusting stuff. And then human traffic, GG. That's what they're clearly doing. They're trying to human traffic them girls. Just luckily, one of the friends caught on by forgetting her purse. So those guys rented or stayed in an old couple's beach house, looking like rich men. And they're also good looking, so then they lure in victims and then human traffic them. Huh. Hey, W the story writer though, she's the smartest one there. Kind of. I mean, driving after them probably wouldn't be the best idea, but I guess it worked out, but I mean, hey, good story though.
No matter how harmless they seemed, or how safe a situation felt. I became antisocial and drifted away from the girls for a little, but luckily that's since changed. I can't even begin to imagine how this incident affected Thea and Sabrina. Part of me feels like not remembering anything is a blessing in disguise. I think the craziest part about the whole thing is the fact that had I not gone home, I might not have been able to reach Lindsay's car in time. And had it not been for that, the police may have never found those guys' car.
Hey, that's a good story, man. I'm not gonna lie.
This happened just last year. My buddy Jimmy is pretty involved and well connected within the music community.
Oh.
By music community, I'm more specifically referring to the dance/electronic music scene all along the East Coast, predominantly New Jersey and New York. It's actually pretty impressive what he and his team have been able to accomplish in just 2 years. The general gist is this: their company hosts what they call events at high-profile venues, typically the most well-known club or party space in whatever city they happen to be in. Then they outsource the talent, which, mind you, is typically a very well-known and sometimes borderline famous DJ. I'm not too involved or invested in that scene, so I'm not exactly sure who they've gotten to perform, but I will tell you that there have been some huge names in the mix. But enough context. Jimmy and I go way back. I'm talking 20 plus years. I've basically known him my entire life, and he's been my best friend for damn near most of it. Because of that, he lets me, along with a bunch of our other hometown friends, come to his shows for free and hang out with the talent in the VIP section. It's actually really cool, and something I wish I expressed my gratitude for more often. Jimmy was scheduled to host a huge event the weekend of July 4th on the Jersey Shore. It was going to be their biggest one yet, and all our mutual friends were going. Jimmy invited me to come down early with him, and I obviously obliged. The two of us made the hour-and-a-half drive with our other friend Ryan, and we found ourselves at the venue a good 4 hours before the doors opened. Ryan and I didn't have much to do while Jimmy and his team set up, so we decided to get a bit of a head start on the alcohol consumption.
Oh my goodness.
Jimmy and his team were entitled to as much free booze as they desired, compliments of the venue, and Ryan and I definitely took advantage of that. By the time the first DJ started his set, Ryan and I were more than a little buzzed, to put it mildly. It was 4th of July weekend after all, so we felt like our degenerate activities were justified. Fast forward a couple hours, and Ryan and I were completely wasted. I honestly don't remember a time since then when I was that drunk, not even close. Don't get me wrong, Ryan and I are grown men, we can handle our alcohol. Throwing up, making fools of ourselves wasn't the issue though. It was genuinely just the problem of having lower impulse control and worse decision making.
Yeah.
Either way, we were having a great time.
How do you...
At least from what I can remember.
Shut
The
up.
event was winding down, and it was getting to that point in the night where you either figured out how you were getting home, or who you were going home with, or both.
Drinking alcohol, I can't relate.
Dog is back at Subway for a limited time only. Get your melty, cheesy sub dog combo from $16 today.
I should try that. No, I'm joking. I really just fell for a nerd, huh? I bet the hot dogs aren't good either.
Jimmy had rented an Airbnb really close by and promised both Ryan and I a bed, so the first issue wasn't a concern. The second problem, though, that was what was on my mind. The two of us danced over to the bar and started talking to some girls we found attractive, and before long, we had figured out who we were going to spend the rest of the night with.
How?
Neither of us are Calvin Klein models, but we're both above 6 feet tall.
Oh.
For whatever reason, the vast majority of guys who hang around the Jersey Shore are usually shorter than average, so being tall is an even bigger boost than it usually is. And for whatever reason, that seems to be the main attribute most girls on the Jersey Shore seek out. Not looks, not build, not intelligence, but height. Don't ask me why. The Jerseyan female mind is still something I have yet to comprehend. I'm probably botching their names, but I'm fairly sure the two girls introduced themselves as Gianna and Marcela. Us meeting them coincides with where my ability to recall events precisely becomes a bit hazy, so there may be gaps in the story from here on out.
You're drunk.
From what I can remember, it was actually Marcela who suggested we all leave together and continue to party elsewhere, which Ryan and I weren't going to argue with. Gianna handed the two of us a drink and insisted that we get on their level before heading out, even though we had both probably consumed the fluid equivalent of her body weight in alcohol already. I know that whole dynamic. Girls getting guys drinks sounds a little unorthodox, and it is. But these girls were clearly wealthy given how they were dressed.
Huh?
After downing the drinks, the four of us started moving towards the venue's exit. The moment we stepped outside, Marcela suggested we go back to her place, which was pretty close by, and also right on the beach. Her saying that actually surprised me a little. I was fully anticipating going back to our Airbnb, considering the guys were usually the ones to host in situations like this. But both girls insisted that Marcela's beach house was definitely nicer than whatever inland Airbnb we found for the night. She had a point, so I didn't argue, and neither did Ryan.
But you're drunk.
We walked along the beach, talking the whole time. The girls seemed really intelligent and knowledgeable based on the conversations we had, and I remember finding it so refreshing to talk about something other than nightlife and whatever other garbage I'm used to talking to girls about for once. Not just girls, drunk people in general. At one point, I actually felt kind of embarrassed for being so drunk because I felt like I couldn't articulate myself well enough and looked like an idiot. That's when I realized I actually was feeling drunker than I had been 15 minutes earlier.
Spiked.
But it wasn't a drunk I was used to feeling. I felt like my body was melting under my weight, as if I were going to collapse uncontrollably any second. My legs felt flimsy, almost like cardboard, if that makes any sense.
You spiked.
Moving my limbs, mouth, and even my eyes became increasingly more difficult, and there was a moment where my extremities started feeling a little numb. But then, just as quickly as the feeling arose, it passed, back to normal drunkenness, at least for the time being. Just then, we arrived at the beach house. It was insane. I'm probably exaggerating because I was so drunk, but it looked like what I imagined a professional athlete's beach house to look like. We went inside, and after taking our shoes off, found ourselves in what I'm guessing was a living room. I say guessing because the level of opulence in there was just so foreign to anything I'm used to. It was decorative, but somehow minimalistic. Even those descriptions are opposite. There were honest-to-God sculptures on pedestals in there, but it didn't feel cluttered or overly showy, and everything on display seemed to blend right into the walls like they were just extensions of the room. I wish I had the wherewithal to take a picture, but again, my mind was elsewhere. Evidently, so was Ryan's, because not 15 minutes after stepping foot in the house, he and Marcela had disappeared somewhere in that maze of a house, which left me alone with Gianna. She leaned in to kiss me, and that's the last thing I remember before blacking out. Not her kissing me, but leaning in to kiss me. That's where everything cuts off. I don't remember feeling
Bro got spiked. Bro got spiked with his friend. Fell for human traffic. GG. Dead. These girls ain't actually drunk. Take advantage of the drunk men. Take them away. Take advantage of the drunk men. And GG, human trafficked or robbed or something. Why do people drink anyways? I wouldn't get it. Drinking, getting spiked, the whole party culture. That entire culture is just weird, huh? Let's drink and let's bang. What? Why? I never understood that culture. I always avoid it too. Never made sense to me, to be honest. But I guess it makes sense from the perspective of society. Yeah. Oh well. I'm assuming these guys got spiked, revert like the opposite gender. Usually it's the guys that spike girls and then go home. But this time it seems like it's the opposite. It seems like the girls are the ones that spiked the man. For what though? I would assume human trafficking for body parts. Maybe. Because these men aren't wealthy. We'll see.
Woozy again, or drinking more, or doing anything else. But there's a huge gap in my memory that spans several hours and will not come back no matter what I try.
Because you're drunk.
And the thing is, I know I didn't pass out because there are texts on my phone sent from me proving I was still conscious. There's digital proof that I was sentient, but I don't remember one bit of it. And before you say I just simply blacked out from alcohol, this was different. I rarely ever black out, but all the times I have, I can still remember bits and pieces of the night, scattered moments here and there, enough for me to string together a continuous sequence of events at the very least. Keep in mind,
Stop
those were
coping.
also all times where I was drunker than I was that night. So
He's
that's
coping.
another reason I think a generic blackout isn't a reasonable explanation
You got
for what
spiked.
happened. Plus, Ryan experienced the exact same thing at essentially the exact same time, which is way too specific to be coincidental. Here's the next thing I remember. Waking up with the sun directly overhead in a random set of bushes over an hour away from where the event was. Something I didn't know yet because my phone wasn't in my pocket. In fact, nothing was in my pocket at all. Both my wallet and keys were gone, but it gets worse. It wasn't even my pocket to begin with. I was wearing someone else's clothes, and not Ryan's either, a complete stranger's. The only personal belonging of mine I still had in my possession was my shoes, and even those were messed up. Both shoes had the shoelaces removed and were soaking wet. My head was pounding, and everything felt disoriented, like I was waking up from anesthesia. I didn't even sit up right away. I just stared at the sky for a minute, trying to make sense of where I was. Bushes, someone else's clothes, no wallet, no phone, no keys. Based on my shoes, it was like I had been in the water recently, but I didn't smell like salt water or chlorine. The worst part about the whole thing was the blankness. I genuinely couldn't remember anything past Gianna leaving, like I already said. That's when the panic started to creep in. I wasn't just hungover, I was scared. I had no idea how I got there. What if I'd gotten into a fight or crashed a car? What if someone drugged me? I didn't have a single point of reference for the last 10 hours. I stood up and realized there wasn't a single landmark around me. It didn't look like a beach town, which also scared me. The road ahead just curved into more trees, but just across the street, maybe a few hundred feet away, was a 7-Eleven. It was genuinely the only thing in sight, so I headed straight for it. I asked the guy behind the counter if I could use his phone, telling him that mine had been stolen. He stared at me for a second, probably debating whether or not I was trying to scam him, but then he slid it across the counter. The first number that came to my mind was my sister's. It was the only number besides my mom or dad's I still memorized, and there was no way in hell I was calling my parents. My sister picked up right away, and I tried explaining things the best I could. She ended up giving me Ryan's number, which I ended up calling several times, but to no avail.
Yeah, he did.
That's when I started wondering if what had happened to me happened to him too. Drugged, robbed, dumped in some random bushes an hour away.
Yep.
I was just about to call the police, when what do you know, Ryan walks into the same 7-Eleven. We just stared at each other for a second before dabbing each other up.
Oh
He
my.
then told me his
Hey, you smash, bro? Oh yeah, I sure did. Oh hell yeah. Shut up.
You guessed it, it was the same story.
Yeah.
Damn near exactly. That sealed it for us. We called the police, making sure to thank the 7-Eleven worker profusely. Fast forward a few minutes, and we're now recounting our story to the police outside the store. To their credit, they took everything we said seriously, at first. But the more we told them, the more their questions started turning.
Save every day at Mitre 10 with our everyday.
They got spiked. They got dumped.
This job made 5-shelf unit only
Got robbed.
$1.34, and this Tui Tomato Tower only $39.99. Plus loads more everyday low prices at Mitre 10.
Anyway, wouldn't your sister have like the location of your phone? No?
Are we sure we didn't just drink too much? Maybe we wandered off and passed out somewhere. They weren't accusing us outright, but it was clear they weren't entirely convinced something criminal happened. I told them it was unlikely we would have drunkenly wandered into a town an hour away by foot.
That's what they all say.
I liked that remark very much. I gave them my sister's number and asked them to call her. She was already tracking my phone through Find My iPhone.
Oh dear.
To all of our collective surprise, my phone was showing up in the middle of a parking lot a few minutes' drive away. The officers agreed to drive us, and sure enough, both our phones were sitting on the pavement next to each other. While it was great to have my phone back,
Let me guess, the police is like, you drunk boys. There, you're making up some bull crap story. Your phone's in the park. Oh yeah, I'm sure you got lured by girls to a mansion. You totally didn't just get drunk and just made up the entire thing, huh? Huh? Huh?
that only affirmed the police's theory that we had just been drunk.
Yeah.
They started saying that we probably hadn't even been robbed, that we had lost our wallets the same way we had lost our phones. We tried convincing the police to check out the house Marcela brought us to, the one she claimed was hers, but they weren't having it. They told us we were probably just too drunk and didn't remember things correctly.
Yep.
One of them even said, "Happens more than you think."
Yep.
Then they gave us their cards and told us to call if we remembered anything else. It was actually shocking how reluctant they were to even connect us to other officers that would be willing to help. They told us to find a ride home since our phones were still charged, and they just left us there.
Yep.
After they left, I went through my phone for the first time, and things got even weirder. There were texts sent from me.
Let me guess. Bank drained. Bank card drained. Because, like, you guys realize that with today's modern phones, right? Even if you're, like, blacked out, with Face ID and everything, they'll get you. I'm not even joking. If you get blacked out, and you have Face ID on your phone, which everyone obviously does, it's GG. Finger ID and Face ID, if you're fully knocked out, they'll still get you. Like, if you guys ever, when you have your phone, right? I got an iPhone, I know. I use Face ID for a lot of things because it's convenient. However, if I ever get blacked out, or like someone drugged me, or I get like tranquilized, if my eyes are closed and I'm like sleeping like this, oh, it's still unlocked. It would still unlock even with my eyes closed. Yep, literally just unlocked. Because the iPhone don't care if you're asleep or not. If they see your face or fingerprint, it will unlock. Which is why, if you really wanted to be a lot more secure... Now, of course, I'm a kind of hypocrite here because I have Face ID still, but I wouldn't be in such a stupid scenario. But again, you know, if you like actually get drugged or tranquilized, and you have Face ID on your phone or Touch ID or any kind of things that don't require your action and input and brain, they'll get you. They'll get you. You know, you're asleep, they could easily just access everything on your phone. But at the same time, it depends on the enemy as well. Depends on who's on your phone. Because even if you don't have Face ID activated, if you have the right person that's against, if it's the right people that's trying to get to your stuff, they're gonna get it anyways. So just depends on the level of agent you're versing. If you're going against like Agent Smith or something, they don't need your ID, or they don't need it. They'll just get it anyways. Google. But if your enemy is like just a random person to tranquilize you, if you don't have Face ID, it'll be harder to find, harder to get. But also at the same time, if you're asleep or if you're just asleep, you're dead anyways.
To a ton of people I knew. Jimmy, my parents, a few coworkers, even some girls I had been talking to. All normal sounding stuff. Stuff I might have said if I'd actually had a calm, coherent night. The texts genuinely sounded like me, but from a continuity standpoint, they didn't make any sense when considered all together. One message to Jimmy thanked him for the event and said we'd crashed at a buddy's place. One to my dad said we were safe and had found a couch to sleep on. There was another to a girl I'd been texting that just said something casual, like I was hanging out at home and thinking about her. None of those texts made any sense and mostly contradicted each other. I realized I had a ton of missed calls and texts from Jimmy, so I called him. He sounded relieved to hear from me, saying he thought Ryan and I had died or something. He told us to stay put, he'd come pick us up. In the meantime, Ryan and I canceled all our cards, but interestingly, none of them had been used, despite the likely fact that they had been in those girls' possession for several hours. The entire ride home, we talked non-stop about what could have happened. None of it made any sense. Yeah, we had been drugged, that much was clear, but that didn't explain things. First of all, I don't know of any kind of roofie that has those effects, like an induced blackout. Everything I've read just said those drugs make you fall asleep, but again, I was conscious, as the texts confirm. Plus, why go to such lengths just to rob two random guys? Especially if you weren't going to at least even attempt to use their credit cards. Two guys who walked up to you, no less. And in such a risky place, too. Your own house. Or was it a house they had broken into? Both were equally risky. Jimmy thought we had been targeted, but like I just said, we had been the ones to approach the girls, so we couldn't have been targeted. And all this isn't even mentioning how or why we miraculously found ourselves in a random town an hour away wearing other people's clothing. As crazy as it sounds, both Ryan and I checked ourselves for incisions, thinking maybe some of our organs had been harvested, but there was nothing. Jimmy suggested that maybe they had just given us some exotic drugs, which I guess makes sense, but someone had driven us to that town, and someone other than those girls had switched clothes with us. We never got an answer, but it's not like we just forgot about the whole thing. Ryan and I ended up driving all the way back to the shore just to go looking for that house. We tried our best to retrace our steps, knowing that if we just walked along the boardwalk, we'd eventually find the house, since it was on the beach. And we actually did find it. The two of us walked up the walkway and rang the doorbell. An older man opened the door, asking us what we wanted. I did the talking. Not wanting to reveal too much or potentially incriminate myself, I simply asked him if a girl named Marcela lived here, or if he had a daughter or granddaughter around our age. He gave me a hard no, and I made up some BS story that there was a girl who lied about owning this house, which he actually found pretty funny. Then that was that. I would be lying if I said I didn't walk away from that house with a sick, unsettling feeling in my stomach. I can't even describe it as fear, just a sickening discomfort, like something truly awful had happened to me and my friend that night, and I'd never get to the bottom of it. For a long time after that, I was convinced those girls had been involved in something much, much bigger that neither me nor Ryan could even conceive.
Now that last story is very interesting. What happened to them? Huh. No credit cards stolen. Just trolling on their phones a bit. The grandpa, the old man that owns the house definitely knows what's up, but he's just pretends to be clueless. Something happened to them, man. I mean, if they're not stealing car... Honestly, the only thing I could really think of was the girls used the guys as a test subject for the drug. And that's about it. Just test out the drug on them and then that's about it. Nothing else. No need to steal money. No need to... Yeah, that's... That last one was actually very interesting. I'm not exactly sure how would they even... That's actually kind of interesting, I'm not gonna lie. Not exactly sure what the females would do to them. The only thing I can really think of logically was they test out some drugs on him. Test out some drugs or... Yeah, no harvest organs. Maybe blackmail. I mean, the fact that they had to change clothes, there's probably some blackmail photos of the dudes, probably. I'm gonna be honest. Sounds like that's a possible way. That's a possible solution, not solution, but conclusion. The girls definitely changed him into some weird clothes and then obviously stripped them, got some blackmail, and then dumped them in the woods afterwards. And I mean, I know their cope is like, their cope is saying that they approach the girls first. But, you know, people are opportunists. It's kind of like if you're a lion and, you know, you're trying to hunt for food, but then the food just comes towards you. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'll take it anyways, you know. So that's probably, I mean, their coping mechanism is that they approach the girls first. So obviously they think that that means that surely nothing's wrong, but that's just opportunists. That's what they do. You know, if you're a lion and you're eating sheep and the sheep come towards you, you're like, oh, well, it's a free thing. But you would also, obviously, from the lion's perspective, be a bit wary. It's like, hey, why are these sheep coming towards me? Is this a trap? But yeah, they're two drunk dudes. Very interesting last story. I'm not gonna lie. Again, the whole drinking culture and stuff isn't really my kind of stuff, but it's a good learning thing to hear these stories. So, what do we learn today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we pretty much learned that just don't drink alcohol. You know, don't go with strangers. Avoid everyone. Self-isolation. Don't avoid hookup culture. Avoid just culture. There's opportunities everywhere. You know, just dark stuff, right? Learn your phone, things like that. Alcohol. Something definitely happened. All I could think about is either the girls tested out drugs on them, or got some blackmail because they're in different clothes. But besides that, though, maybe just steal all your personal information. Again, there's so many things you can do with people. Yeah, that's about it though. Don't really think anything else. You'll be crazy. Oh, never. I was gonna say something a bit more scarier, but the girls have nothing to do with it. They're the trap, and then there's like some sicko who takes advantage of the men. GG. But then they would have known because they would feel something. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine that? The girls take the boys over, drug them, the boys black out, and then the old man comes and does what he wants. Oh, that's even worse. Oh, that's like the worst scenario. Oh, that's the worst scenario. Gay stuff. GG. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That was probably like a W video for Mr. Nightmare. We managed to split into two. No way. 41 minutes ago, 4 disturbing true night shift horror stories. Ooh, that's kind of good. We should listen to that next episode. Not today. That was really good, but yes. We'll do it tomorrow. My left ear is blocked. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Why is this door not closing? Okay. That was actually pretty good. Alright, well. I think we know what we're gonna do now. We're gonna go straight towards surviving Mars. Yeah. R.I.P. Wing Wong though, for real. He's about to get killed by the clone. I know he's coming. My clone's gonna come kill me. I know he is. It is what it is. I wonder what the channels even look like. Wing Wong lore. Interesting. What is this? What kind of female would camp alone? That's very dumb. What is all this dumb stuff? Candace Owens? I never really cared about that ecosystem. Surviving myths, a bunch of YouTube stuff. 14-year-old killer thinks he's going home. Psychopaths. Motel, Invincible. What is happening in New Zealand? Why leave? Who would leave New Zealand?
What's your worst essay grade?
Probably like a 71.
Worst essay grade, probably like a 60%.
Shut up.
I remember I was talking to someone from New Zealand, and they were saying that they wanted to visit Australia, not for the amazing landmarks or beaches, but for Uniqlo, a
What? What's that? What is that? What is that?
Japanese clothing store found in a handful of countries. Like, what? You guys don't have Uniqlo? Are you guys like a decade behind society?
What the hell's
No
Uniqlo?
IKEA, no Muji, no Target,
What?
no Audi, no...
Yeah, we don't have none of that in New Zealand. We just got your old, good old Pack and Save and Woolworths and Kmart. Warehouse. What are all these? What are all these? What are these? 7-Eleven, just go to BP. 7-Eleven's just a gas station, no?
7-Eleven, there's no Amazon, you have to get stuff shipped from...
Yeah, we just get stuff shipped to us. You know, Temu, Amazon. What's wrong with that?
other Amazon warehouses, and then a singular Costco in the country.
Ah. Costco wholesales. Gotta get doxxed.
I have to remember the significant size difference between the two countries. The population of New Zealand is basically Melbourne, so...
Huh? Really now? The whole entire population of New Zealand's one city in Australia?
it makes businesses hesitant to franchise in a country with a smaller audience, since there isn't a lot that goes on here compared to their neighbour, Australia. It's pretty common to compare both the Aussies and Kiwis together, and it's obvious that Australia is a lot better in many ways. Not just because we have a Uniqlo, but for plenty of other reasons.
What the hell's Uniqlo? I don't know what Uniqlo is. I don't really care what Uniqlo
That
is.
will get mentioned throughout the video. Although both countries actually have a lot more similarities, since they're so close to each other and both initially colonized by the British. Just from personal experience, when I first stepped foot in Auckland for my holiday, it was like I never left Australia. I was so mad because what a waste of money traveling to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's like the same culture because y'all have the same media. Huh? Think about it. Hello? Your culture should be pretty much the same because you consume the same TikTok and YouTube and creators, so it makes sense.
When I could just stayed in Sydney and experience the same thing. Like, all the surroundings pretty much look the same, everyone speaks English with strange accents, and then the country's foods, equally as lame. They share meat pies, pavlovas, fairy bread, sausage sizzles. I mean, I like the food, but they're not places that are well known for it. Like,
It's because you're both Australia and New Zealand cultures pretty much the exact same. There ain't no difference, you know?
you wouldn't be traveling with your kids to go overseas just to try out the local cuisine, especially not New Zealand, because what the hell are they feeding the kids?
What the hell's that? I never had that before. Is that what, meat pie? It looks like shepherd's pie, but a bit more crust.
Kids over there.
By the way, schools don't serve kids lunch. You get lunch from your own house. Well, that's what I grew up in. When I was doing school stuff, school never. I I don't think schools even have canteens. No, they have canteens, but it's not like your traditional American ones where, you know, there's like a lunch lady that serves you. In New Zealand, you just take the lunchbox from home and then eat it at school. But there's also a cafeteria that you can buy food from, but it's not like a cafeteria, it's more like a dairy shop.
This shit doesn't even look edible.
Tater tots and meatballs. That looks pretty normal to me right there.
When asked what they would eat instead of the lunch, one student said oxygen. I prefer not to eat than eating something over and over again. Although, there's unique food in New Zealand. An example is hangi. It originated.
Yeah, but that's like grown in on the ground, and that's from the Māori. That's from the natives. And setting that up is like, I mean, I never set it up, but I mean, obviously you got to dig a hole, and then you just bury it all and cook it.
Originated from the indigenous population of the Maori people, and is iconic due to its traditional cooking method of heating the food underground by creating a big hole and placing hot stones in it. Then the basket's filled with foods, usually meats like lamb or pork, along with vegetables like potato or cabbage.
Yeah.
They get covered in leaves or foil and then placed inside the hole, covered in wet sacks and then buried, trapping the heat and steam to slow cook the stuff inside. The end results look like this.
That's healthy. That's literally healthy. What are you complaining about? It's literally just whole foods cooked like like just normal. It's like boiling all your food.
Although I can't say from taste, I ain't gonna lie, this does not look appealing to eat. Another similarity.
Yeah, but it's like super healthy. Literally 0 oil. It's just basically boiling food and eating it, except no water, just dirt. Well, it's just, yeah, no oil. That's pretty much the whole thing of it, no oil.
Between the two countries are the issues. In the beginning of my Sydney Explained video, I complained about how bad the housing crisis and cost of living is, and turns out New Zealand experiences the same thing. The average house price is almost $1 million New Zealand dollars,
yep,
while the average salary is only around 64k. So,
whoa, what? Really?
In New Zealand dollars, while the average salary is only around
y'all only earn 64k a year? That's pretty interesting.
64k. So buying a house doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, that's why you get like a mortgage and then pay off your life with it, GG.
Even the cost of living is fucked. Like a block of butter costs $10. So
I'll be the one to figure that out, sir. I'll be the one to figure that out right now. I'm gonna figure that out right now. A block of butter, $10. You're right. You're right. Let me have a look real quick, mate. Oh, I just got docs. Glenfield, GG. Thanks. Butter? Oh. Well, damn. Dad, I literally just took it from here. Block of butter, $10. How is that? Is that even expensive? That butter should last you for like a month, right? Or like 2 months. What do you even use butter for? Bread? Eggs? Meat? But you wouldn't even buy this type of butter. You would just buy a... If I were to buy butter, I would just buy this. I would just buy Lewis Road butter. Oh, it's even... Yeah, just buy Lewis Road butter, bro.
So it reached a point where it's become a luxury item, despite the country being one of the biggest dairy producers.
No, it isn't. Butter's not a luxury product. What's this guy yapping about?
So all the issues I mentioned.
Okay, so what's the issue? We got none of that, whatever that brand is in store. That's fine. What, butter's expensive? Okay, population low, that's good. The housing market, that's the same for every single country though.
Mentioned throughout this video creates a brain drain, which is the hottest talking point in the country. For those who don't know, a brain drain is a situation that makes groups of skilled and qualified people leave their own country to find better opportunities. 47,000 New Zealand citizens left the country in 2024, which is almost a percentage of the population gone. It doesn't sound like a lot, but these are like doctors or engineers, people that can save and change lives, just disappearing from the country. So it has become a popular pathway for New Zealanders to move to Australia to seek a better life. Although,
I wouldn't say it's a better life, to be honest. Not that I've been to Australia, but like, you want to go to a more populated area? Sure, why not, I guess. If you're looking for money, but funny thing is, chat, if y'all actually knew how the game works, you would want to be in a like isolated country more. It's like, example, if you're in Auckland, right? Me. Okay, I want more money, so I go to Australia, get more money. But then once you have a lot of money, you kind of just go like, okay, I'm rich now. I'm gonna go back to New Zealand because there's less people. Because when you get money, you'll be like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm gonna go back to isolation and go back to Auckland.
they fail to realize that Australia has the same issues, but it does make their living situation a bit better. You would get paid more since the average salary is much higher, and an increase in population and landmass means there's more job vacancies.
Yeah, but more people, more danger. More people, more danger. More traffic.
And people to meet. It sounds like New Zealand.
For lighter data users, how about endless data for
Shut up.
bucks? Join Kiwi Mobile today.
Shut up. Yo, YouTube, you're getting way too greedy with these ads lately. Back in my day, it was like 5 seconds, and that was it. But now you're giving me like 30 seconds of ads. Bunch of sugar.
Downgrade to Australia, which is kinda true. So what is the appeal of New Zealand in the first place?
The appeal is that there's less people in the country. That's your main appeal right there. Isolation from the rest of the world.
Well, let's break it down. The country is divided into two parts, Auckland and everything else. Auckland being the biggest city in the country with 1.7 million people, around 29% of the population, which means this is where everything happens. You come here for the big city life. Well, as big as New Zealand can offer you, since it's way smaller than other large cities in the world.
Jeez.
It's a much more urbanized place compared to the rest of the country, creating a place for more job opportunities, an extensive public transport system.
Ew, public transport. Avoid that, thank you.
Which can be debated if it's good or not, more events and places to entertain you, and an extremely diverse population, allowing for different foods and cultures.
Oh yeah, 100%. New Zealand's got like every single country food restaurant you can get. And guess what? No one cares. No one discriminates in New Zealand, bro. It's like, oh, Chinese there, Indian there, Japanese there, Korean there. You got the goddamn kebabs down there. You got a fish and chip store down there. You got some sushi over there. You also got like Subway. You also got like, you know, Indian curry. You also got, I already said sushi. Sushi, kebabs. You know, what is it called? What is that like? The kebab is like, you know, sushi, Indian curry, kebabs. What is that called? The wrap? It's not, it's like kebabs but like in a bread wrap. I can't remember the name. Anyways, then you got like KFC, you got McDonald's, the white people food. You also just got cafes, you got chicken. Okay, so wait, hold on. A typical mall in New Zealand, you know, you got your Chinese food, you got your Korean food, you got your Japanese food, you got your Indian food, you got your Arabic. Was that gyros? I have no idea what that is. Gyros? It's like a sheep. No, what am I saying? It's that wrap if you see online, you know? It's like kebabs, but kebab. Oh, it's gonna dox me if I did it. Hold on. I know, because for some reason, since I don't have a VPN on this PC, it's gonna dox me to like the nearest kebab shop. Kebab wraps. I knew it doxed me. Look at that. I knew it. It literally doxed me. It's just called kebab wraps. Is it? Oh, Silver-Lucky. Yeah. Wow, it actually doxed me. That's insane. It actually doxed me. We offer the best Silver-Lucky in this area. I knew it. Doxed me, literally. Called it. Yeah, so like I said, New Zealand's got like, it's like a diverse everything. Cambodia. What else is there? You know, Korean chicken, Japanese sushi, Korean sushi, Chinese sushi. fish and chips. You know, Yum Cha, Chinese area again. Literally every single country is in New Zealand. Every single country, diversity, blah blah blah. Only thing that isn't in New Zealand is like black people food. Yeah, literally, there's like no black people food in New Zealand. I just realized. I mean, Indians, yeah, but like, there's no like African food shop. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, there's not even a Maori food shop. Where's the... Yeah, that's actually something I realized in New Zealand. There ain't no black people food. Oh, Mexican? Yeah. Mexican, yeah, Mexican. Actually, yeah, Mexican. Okay, even though I said there's no black thing, on the image it says Hangi Shop. I've never seen that in my life. Yeah, okay. Pretty much everything's just in New Zealand though.
To be available, since less than half the city is white. I'm literally describing Sydney at this point. Then you compare it to the second most populated city in New Zealand, Christchurch. Less than a quarter of the population of Auckland, and because of this, it offers a slower pace of life, since it's easy to settle down if you have kids or retiring from the workforce. The cost of living is cheaper than Auckland, but you're also removing all the benefits Auckland has.
What benefits?
Have little job opportunities.
Oh yeah, jobs are kind of a struggle in everywhere. Not even just Christchurch, but obviously in Queenstown, Auckland, everywhere's got low job things. Of course.
The public transport is only buses and
yep, buses everywhere.
less events and places to keep you entertained.
Well, that's why I have social media. Bro, everything's social media now, because no one wants to leave home anyways.
Also just describing Canberra at this point. After Christchurch, the city just gets smaller.
Oh, yep.
And smaller.
Yep.
So does that mean that every place that isn't Auckland is just a place to settle down? Like, I don't think anyone's gonna go to Palmerston North.
What's wrong with Palmerston North?
For career opportunity.
Yeah. You do realize that New Zealand's like a good place to pretty much just... Honestly, if you're making income digitally, or like, if you're making income... Not physically, but like, you know, digitally or investments. New Zealand's like the best place to go to because, like I said, no one's there. No one's there. Job opportunities are a lot less, but again, the job opportunities are everywhere. I can literally go online and search up for a job and you'll find... This is lying because you can easily find jobs. What he's actually talking about is high pay jobs. Sure, that's actually considered lowered. But if you're talking about like physical jobs, there's plenty of jobs. You easily find a job. Literally just go to a random shop and then say, do you need physical labor? They'll say yeah. And then you go, oh cool, hire me. It's just because when he's talking about career jobs, he's talking about like salary based jobs. Nah. In New Zealand, you got per hour. Per how much physical work you're doing, you get paid. Not that like yearly contract salary stuff. Ain't no way. You get paid per hour. Your physical work. Physical work. That's what... You can easily get a job with physical work, but it's just that people prefer those career office jobs. I don't know.
It's a bit too, rural for that regard.
Yeah, physical jobs pay the most in New Zealand. There's no offices or anything.
Due to the real characteristics of New Zealand cities, nature becomes the identity of the country. These cities are surrounded by greenery, like the areas I went outside of Auckland weren't completely urbanized. There were big buildings, but then they were accompanied by a bunch of trees and grassy areas as well, with offering a space for outdoor activities such as hiking, for example. The smaller the city, the more beautiful they can get. I went to the tiny city of Picton, a population of...
I've been there before. Well, Picton is pretty chill. It's like...
And it was enclosed by these beautiful green hills.
Yep.
Or Queenstown offering these scenic views of the coastline, surrounded by endless mountains. The tourist attractions also reflect this, as they relate towards the beautiful environments. There's the Lord of the Rings film set located...
Okay, no one cares about that film set, bro. Anyways, New Zealand's like literally just nature. And again, like I said, you can complain about New Zealand, but in reality, when you get richer, you actually want to move to places that's away from everyone anyways. It's like that saying, you know, you went over here to get rich. Now you're rich and now you want to go back to peace and like nature. It's like why rich people do all of this expensive or do all this hard work to get rich just to go on a private yacht away from everyone. It's because when you're rich, you want to get away from everyone. But when you're broke, you want to be with everyone. So that's like the main thing, you know. Why do rich people go on private jets? Why do people go on private yachts when they're rich? Why don't I want to go on that ferry with a bunch of the other brokies? Why don't I want to go to economy with the other brokies? No, because when you're rich, you want to stay away from the poor people. So the rich will just go to a private yacht. They'll go to a private jet to stay away from poor people. And then when it comes to places where they live, well, guess what? Same principle. They go to private islands or private neighborhoods. Or, you know, if they're not like fully rich, they go to places like New Zealand where it's like less population. Literally, there are so many rich people in New Zealand. And guess what? They don't actually work. They're not working a physical job. They got their money digitally or from investments. Or one thing that is actually kind of interesting about New Zealand is that a lot of Chinese kids are here. Oh crap! I'm just talking about myself, but not me because I wasn't born that privileged. But okay, what am I saying? No. I'm talking about the rich Chinese. So what I'm talking about is in China, there's really rich families, right? But what they do is they send their kid, only the kid. Like, example, I wouldn't say my friends, but maybe my friends? No, my old friends. No, I wouldn't say my old friends because it's like a whole different echelon of Chinese, or just not Chinese, Asian, but mainly from China. The parents are super rich from China, but they send their like teenage kid to New Zealand. So like the kids, it's only the kid that's in New Zealand. The parents are still in China making bank. I wouldn't say bank. They're just making money because it's like 1 hour in China is like 1 day's worth of business in New Zealand. Like if you have a fish and chip shop in China and they have a fish and chip shop in New Zealand you get like maybe 100 customers a day. In China, you get that in like 30 minutes. You know, you get more income, but then obviously since there's more demand in China, a lot more harder work than in New Zealand. So these rich Chinese parents, they make a kid and then they send that kid to New Zealand and then let this New Zealand kid grow up in the New Zealand thing. And these New Zealand kids, they're not working a job, they're getting money from the parents that are in China, and they just live a normal life in New Zealand. But then yeah, it's like a sanctuary kind of. New Zealand is very different, but New Zealand's like a lot more of a sanctuary for rich people. But if you're broke, then obviously your life's a bit different, but that's for every single country.
In the middle of nowhere, and it's one of the most popular tourist attractions in New Zealand, since it's crazy to think that they made an entire country just to film the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But to summarize the tourism side, there's a bunch of hiking trails with insane views, a lot of opportunities to do recreational activities, as well with a lot of volcanoes you can visit around New Zealand. Probably not a good idea though.
Oh, that's like every single... I wouldn't say that's a big deal. 22 people died in volcano searches. Bro, if you go to like any other country, you're gonna get... Actually, if you go to Australia, you probably just die. You have a higher chance of dying in Australia in the public than going to the wild, right? You get like bit by snakes and spiders, alligators.
You have all of this, and then when you compare to Auckland, it's just so grey because how urbanized it is. So the divide between Auckland and the entire country makes sense, since they offer different lifestyles. There's a slang word Jaffa. How would the Kiwis say it? Like, we have to use an accent like Jaffa. It's an acronym for just another fucking Aucklander, which is used as a derogatory...
What the hell is a Jaffa?
...term from these smaller cities. They act like they own the place since they have the privilege of being in the city, make them out of touch with the rest of the country. You would complain about the morning traffic, but then an Aucklander would be like, well, here in the city, I would be in the traffic for an hour every...
Holy moly, yeah, traffic's really bad, huh?
...day for work. You guys have it easy. Like, who asks? They think their life is so hard since they have to deal with issues prevalent in the city life, such as the daily commute, being stuck in traffic, or
never go on public transport. Don't go on trains, you'll get killed.
Public transport, the office work, or the high cost of living.
How is butter your only example of high cost of living?
Being stuck in traffic or public transport, the office work, or the high...
butter is not a high cost of living item. Bro, butter is it's like salt and pepper. It ain't gonna give you barely any kind of nutritional value. But I will argue that meat in New Zealand's insane. It's expensive, but I already showed you the strategy. Just get canned mackerel. It's like $3 a kg. I already showed y'all. I already told y'all. The best. Don't get steak in New Zealand because y'all be broke. Too broke for steak. I mean, how much is that per kg? $54 a kg. Mackerel, like $5 a kg. Oh.
High cost of living. It's not like we all experience similar issues in our lives, no matter where you're from. I guess that's the perspective of how these smaller cities would see Aucklanders, because it seems like the term comes from a place of envy, because nothing happens where they live. So there's a sense of jealousy since Auckland is by far the most developed city, which makes the other cities want to bash it down to their level.
No one does.
It's like the case of some people wanting the city life and some people don't.
City life, it really depends on who you are, but city life is kind of a poor person's mindset. Kind of. I would argue that city life is more like a poor person kind of mindset. Because you want to be near the brokies, but then when you're rich, you would prefer the isolated lifestyle because you're away from everyone.
Most of New Zealand live the local life, which makes places like dairies a big thing in New Zealand culture. They're basically family-owned convenience stores, mostly run by Indian immigrants. They would sell pretty much anything they have at a grocery store, but the store itself is smaller and embedded in neighborhoods, making it convenient for the locals.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm just gonna get some snacks and drinks down at the dairy. It's a dying business because you could just drive to the closest.
I wouldn't really. Nah, dairies are. You don't drive to a dairy. If you go into a dairy, you walk because it's so close. Hey, what is this guy talking about? Talking about driving. Hey, that 3-minute drive ain't a 3-minute drive, bro. You're gonna have to drive there in traffic, so that's gonna be like 6 minutes. And then you're gonna go find some parking. You're gonna go find a parking spot. That's gonna take you at least like 3 more minutes. And then you have to go inside the big store and find what you want. And then after that, you go to a checkout and you pay your food and then go back to your parking spot, load the car up, and then drive away. And that 3 minutes is going to multiply like times 5. But then if the dairy, if you live nearby, you just walk to it, stroll down, grab a couple of drinks and snacks and then leave. And that's like, no parking spot, no driving, no gas. You just walk in there. Matter of fact, you probably finish your drink and snack by the time you walk back home, put it in the nearest rubbish bin, you're good to go. Dairy, you walk to a dairy. No one drives to a dairy. There's no parking space in a dairy anyways. You just park on the street. So that's why you just walk there.
The supermarket and buy a larger range of stuff there for cheaper. Like, no wonder why they're dying.
Nah, dairy shops ain't dying, bro. It's for the locals.
I didn't even see the point of them except buying for a meat pie, I guess. I have to start.
Girls are twice as likely to drop out of sport. That's why 2 Degrees is committed to fighting for fair for women and girls in sport at every level. Search 2 Degrees Support Her Club.
That does make sense.
Start saying positive things about the country, like stuff that makes it better than Australia. I guess the wildlife, because it's just a lot of sheep. For every one person, there's like 5 sheep. I mean, that doesn't sound like a benefit. Like, I guess the Kiwis have more things to fuck here. But here in Australia, you do not want to fuck with the wildlife.
Yeah, you get killed.
The deadly snakes, venomous spiders, casually chilling in your house.
What the?
Yeah, the sheep sounds better. Another thing is that both the countries don't have the best history when it comes to...
Oh, that's true. Oh, man. Actually, Australia's got it worse. The natives in Australia are like all gone. At least in New Zealand, they're trying to stay alive, but...
the indigenous population.
Man, Aborigines got exterminated. At least the Maori in New Zealand aren't fully exterminated, but they're pretty much close to. Nearly. The culture's dead. No, depends. No, yeah, basically it is. Basically it is. In the like school system, Maori culture's like dead. And I don't even know about Australia. I think it doesn't even exist anymore.
To briefly summarize them, Europeans came to these small islands, took over the land, killed a bunch of the indigenous populations of the islands, and forcibly separated them from their families from each other, destroying their culture and assimilating them to white society the Europeans created. That's like the general gist of things. Although, in the present day, New Zealand is seen to show much more respect towards the indigenous population compared to most countries. 19% of the New Zealand population is Maori, which allows the culture to have a common place in the country, compared to Australia with a population,
That's dead.
America with only 2% Native American.
Damn, yeah, they did, bro.
There's plenty of heritage sites and landmarks to visit, and increased usage of the Maori language, as well as being considered an official language of the country, along with Maori traditions being prevalent. A well-known one is a ceremonial dance known as the haka. It resembles a war cry, originally used to welcome other Maori tribes as well to prepare for battle, since it's a way to intimidate opponents and hype up the Maori warriors. But now it's used during special occasions such as weddings or funerals, or even used as a way to protest, with an iconic example happening in New Zealand Parliament.
Yeah, they got clowned for that, GG.
What the fuck is happening with New Zealand politics, bro? Like, is
I don't even know politics.
Though some of you cannot yet vote, I hope when you do, it will be in a more voted Australia for a government with more aura. Skivity.
In conclusion,
did she really say skivity?
That last clip, I like New Zealand more. It's actually a better country.
So what's the whole point of that video? What's happened in New Zealand? It's normal. There ain't nothing much happening in New Zealand, bro. It's a chill place. Honestly, it's so chill. I can go camping IRL and not die. I probably will die now. So what? The only people are leaving us just the poor. What's the whole point of the video? Why people are leaving? That's what the thumbnail said, right? The thumbnail was like, why are people leaving? Well, it's only the poor people that are leaving. That want to get rich and then they'll come back. Matter of fact, yeah, the only people that are... Yeah, literally, in New Zealand, the only people that are leaving New Zealand are the poor ones that want to get rich, and then they'll come back when they're rich. That's literally what's happening right now. The poor people are leaving, but the rich people are coming. If that makes sense. The poor people leaving New Zealand to get rich, and at the same time, the rich people are leaving their home countries to come to New Zealand. It's just that obviously, when it comes to the ratio of rich people and poor people, there's more poor people. So, it looks like people are leaving New Zealand, but then they're coming back. Crap, it's already been like an hour and 30 minutes. But yeah, we're gonna... I think that... Oh, I was supposed to play that Surviving Mars game. I just saw that video and just talked about it for like 20 minutes because it was kind of interesting. Again, like... No one... New Zealand's just chill, man. What can I say? It's good for if you're rich or... yeah, kind of, pretty much. It really depends on the ecosystem, but... if you want to stay away from society, stay away from the poor people, New Zealand's a good place because there's no one here. And also, like I said before, you know, no one can really come to New Zealand illegally. I guess that's one main selling point to New Zealand. Sure, the border security is not very strong, but New Zealand's border security is nature, because ain't nobody gonna swim here, they're gonna die. Ain't nobody's little ship gonna get here, they're gonna die. And ain't nobody gonna fly here because, well, they can't even fly anyways. They can't even walk here either, because they have to swim. Natural border. Yeah, natural border. And also, if you commit a crime in New Zealand, you'll get found pretty fast. Let's be real. Like, if you commit a crime in New Zealand, you'll get... Where are you gonna... The only reason it's hard for bigger countries to get criminals is because there's so many people, they have to go through a lot more people, right? But if you commit a crime in New Zealand, you're pretty much like, you'll get found straight away. Where are you gonna hide? You ain't gonna hide anywhere. Matter of fact, if you look at the news recently, not recently, but I remember seeing on the New Zealand news, like someone did something bad and went on a like, you know, he ran away, right? He tried to flee the police, but then the police got like nothing else to do in New Zealand. They just send the entire force against you. They got like dogs and helicopters and GG. Because like, where can you hide in New Zealand? You ain't gonna hide anywhere. You really... Yeah, I mean... Right. Again though, that's pretty much like one of the last. This might be one of the last Wing Wong lore videos, because my clone's gonna come kill me. GG. It is what it is. Oh well. Oh, it was good knowing y'all, but clone's probably gonna come kill me. It is what it is. So it seems like the other one's gonna cut. The clone's gonna come get me. He's gonna get me, and then yeah, I think my clone. I don't know. All I know is that my clone said something about how he's gonna take over again. I've had a good run, but it's like my time to go or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's enough talking. It's time to go towards the PS5. Yeah, lock in. All right.